Hello everyone and welcome to Shell Point Today for Wednesday, October 11th. I'm Dan Philgreen. On today's show, we'll head over to the Island Salon to hear from Robyn Church about the specials she has for you for November. Jeff Cory from the Legacy Foundation will bring an overview of a new series of programs they are sponsoring on medical breakthroughs. And we'll take a fun look back at the recent dog parade at the Larson Pavilion. But first, we want to remind you about today's concert in celebration of Veterans Day. Organist Craig S. Williams will be here. He is the organist and choir master at West Point, where he plays the world's largest church pipe organ. Read more about Craig on page 27 of your Shell Point Life magazine. The concert will be held in the Village Church at 2:15 today. And tomorrow is the day to gather up your beach gear and head on out to Delnor Wiggins Pass State Park for fun, food, and frolic. A picnic lunch with a Thanksgiving flair will be served, and a traditional stop for ice cream will be included on the trip back to Shell Point. Court pickups start on the island at 8:30 a.m., and the approximate return will be 3 p.m. The cost is $16 with the ice cream stop on your own. And after a day at the beach, you might enjoy relaxing time at the Village Church, enjoying Shell Point's own theater. The Spot Folks will be performing Over the River and Through the Woods, an upbeat, touching, and hilarious comedy about two Italian families whose strong values are a stark contrast to the morals of today. In this story, Angela, the granddaughter, is moving away from her family to advance her career, despite the family's strong objections. Their traditions are exceptionally humorous. Come and enjoy an evening of laughter as you watch the Shell Point Play Readers perform this comedy. And once again, golfers, get your golf gear together for Friday's Shell Point Golf Tournament. It's going to be a big day out there on the course. And if dancing is more your thing, another Friday option you might enjoy is the new Zumba class. It's the fun fitness craze that fools your body into thinking it's having fun dancing instead of actually working at doing exercise. Ingrid Oliver will be teaching the class that starts at 12:45 p.m. at the Island Health Club. Be sure to sign up at either service desk. Well, it's a big year for the Shell Point Salons. It's their anniversary, celebrating 10 years of service to Shell Point. We head over to the Island Salon now, where Robyn Church is standing by with some November specials for you.
Hi, my name is Robyn Church, and I'm the Salon and Spa Manager at Shell Point Salon and Spa. And today I'd like to just share with you some exciting specials we have in November to help celebrate our 10-year anniversary with all of you. One of the great specials is our specials for our facials. Our Collagen 90, if it's done in a series, which would be one a week for 5 weeks, the results are phenomenal. And if you do the series, you receive a free H5O cream or gel cream. And this would be over $100 value, free, for doing the series. Then we have the CC Spa, which if you do 4 of those, one a week for 4 weeks, you get a free Vital C plus peptide serum, which is fabulous on the skin. And for the Algo facial, if you do 4 of those, one a week for 4 weeks, you receive a free Hydromucin Optimal Cream, which is a $62 value. So this is a great way to really perk up your skin, get some good hydration. They're all anti-aging. The Algo is also soothing, great for rosacea skin or anyone that is a little more sensitive, which a lot of times people that are more sensitive, they are that way because they're dehydrated. Once we hydrate the skin the way it should be, they're not so sensitive anymore. So one of our skincare specialists can certainly analyze your skin and help determine which you are, whether you be sensitive or just sensitized because you're dehydrated. All of GM Collins is a cosmeceutical company, which we are FDA approved, which means that GM Collins products actually promote changes to the skin. The FDA approval is only required when a product actually does make changes to the skin. Otherwise, they really don't need to be FDA approved. And a lot of the products in The drugstores are not FDA approved because they're really not making a change to the skin. They're just putting something on that outer layer. So if you'd like to make an appointment for these, just call the Island Salon. It's a great way, again, to really hydrate your skin and get some good home care, which is so important to promote the results and keep them going after you leave the salon. Thank you and have a great day.
Medical breakthroughs seem to be happening all the time, and many of them can have a big impact on your well-being. To help us keep up, the Legacy Foundation is sponsoring a series of programs to help us stay up on the latest in healthcare innovation. Legacy Director Jeff Cory is here to tell us about it.
Hi, I'm Heather Battey with Resort Services, and today I have someone with me that you all probably know, and that is Executive Director Jeff Cory from the Legacy Foundation. Hi Jeff, thanks for being here today.
Hi Heather, thanks for having me.
Of course. So we're here today to talk about a really new and exciting portion of the Health Connection. We have a new portion that's going to be called Medical Breakthroughs and Discoveries, and it is sponsored by the Legacy Foundation. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. We came up with this idea, Heather, to sort of expand programming here for residents. We know our residents are really interested in what's new and latest in medical research and technology and what's happening in healthcare. Right. And so we thought maybe it'd be a good idea to have some programs that focused on areas of interest to residents.
These are new things that would be not necessarily something that we would cover in the medical portion of the Health Connection, but this is going to be expanding, going to talk about things that are up and coming.
That's right. We have a relationship with Lee Memorial, and part of the programming will include Jim Nathan, the president of the Lee Memorial, coming out and speaking to our residents. We also have a program on heart care and Alzheimer's, and also a neat program with Mass General, sending down one of their physicians to talk about advances in melanoma and skin cancer. So.
Great.
Pretty exciting stuff.
Yes. So for instance, in this this program that we're going to be offering, we're not going to be touching so much on what is the day-to-day stuff that's going on, but kind of what they're thinking about research-wise. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think some of it's advances in research and medicine and that sort of thing, but also in care and treatments. And our heart care program this fall will be talking about invasive surgery or minimally invasive heart surgery and what's been happening there. So, a lot of exciting things that our residents, I think, will really find neat to see what's happening. Right.
And these are going to take place at the Village Church.
That's right.
And they're open to the public?
Open to the public as well. We'd like to expand this to the public. I think it's going to be programming that residents in Lee County itself will find interesting and informative, so we wanted to open it up to everyone. So.
How would you go about signing up for these events? Is it going to be through the service desk?
It's going to be through the service desk, and we're partnering with Health Connections. We actually had a committee of residents that we brought together to help us with the programming and to find out what was of interest to Shell Point residents. So it's been a team affair, and so we appreciate your involvement as well.
Absolutely. I do think this is going to bring in a lot of residents and the public because the topics, like you said, are really interesting, I think, to residents and to their families.
Sure.
So to sign up or to know what's going on a little bit more with these programs, you're going to be looking in your new Health Connection book that comes out in the middle of September. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the Legacy Foundation or to any of the service desks. Thank you so much, and stay happy and healthy.
Speaking of medical breakthroughs, on tomorrow's show, we'll hear from cardiothoracic surgeon Dr. Paul DeGiorgi from Lee Memorial Health Park as he previews his upcoming presentation about developments in treating your heart and lungs. Dogs seem to have an amazing ability to just love everybody, and who doesn't enjoy a greeting from an eager furry face and a wagging tail? Recently, the Shell Point Dog Club took the time to bring their pups to the Larson Pavilion for a dog parade of sorts to bring some doggy love and joy to the residents there. Here's a look back at all the fun.
The Dog Club has been around for about a year now, and we want to give back to the residents of the community. And we thought Halloween parade would be a fun way to do it. And we know how much the residents here love dogs, and We, of course, love dogs, so the two together we thought was a win-win. We come to the hospice to visit hospice volunteers here. And of course we see all the other people on the way in and out. And she adores it, just adores it.
We started the club the idea came up about 1.5 years ago, and we got it rolling in 2015. And with a lot of successes. We've had a lot of fun with it. We're still in the organizational stages and certainly can use some help. This event here today was pretty much put together by Joanne, and she's done a great job with it. We intend to do this a lot more. There's a lot of comfort and serenity in having a puppy around, and I think it lends a lot to the serenity in the whole island or in the whole complex.
Buster is 5 years old. He just had his 5th birthday, and nobody's told him that. He thinks he's 5 months old. Anyway, he is a very, very good boy, but a little hyperactive. We could have used a little Prozac today. He goes every day to the dog park over in the golf cart and loves it there, and is a wonderful ball player.
I am Barbara Marucki, wife of William Marucki, and we have been here since '02, and we love being at Shell Point and all things connected with Shell Point. We feel grateful that God's given us a wonderful place like this to be connected with.
I had no idea that there were so many dogs in the Shell Point area.
We loved it. We loved it. We don't actually have a dog of our own, but we enjoyed everybody else's, and I have not pet so many little puppies and dogs in my whole entire life. And I hope that I don't know if they've done it before, but I certainly hope that they continue. And actually, the people loved it. I could look at their faces and tell that they loved that little interlude today, and bringing their dogs to show everybody. You know, I don't think I have scratched that many dogs' heads ever. Thank you, folks, for bringing a lot of pleasure into a lot of folks' lives. Ones that have, when they came into the Shell Point, probably had to give up their animals. So just keep on doing what you're doing. We appreciate it and we enjoyed. Thank you.
I thought the dogs were outstanding. There's so many of them. Were so friendly. They were jumping up in the lap of a couple of the people, but they were all coming over to you and enjoyed being petted, and I thought it was a great idea. And I think the dogs thought it was a good idea too.
So what did you think of what did you think of those dogs?
Oh, they're great. We have a grand dog. No, he wasn't here, but 2 of our former neighbors were in the parade, so we got to see them.
We just love dogs. They could be ugly, they could be beautiful, but they're beautiful to us.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, Academy News, menus, and Village Church Connections.
Hello and welcome to the happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Caitlin Van Scoy and I'm here with Bev Chanley, and we're going to let you know all of Wednesday's activities. We'd first like to thank all of our servicemen and women at Shell Point for their service of our country, and happy Veterans Day. We start our morning off at 7:45 with men's Bible study in the Osprey Room on the island. At 8 o'clock, we have men's match play tennis at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. Lilly and Company Jewelers will be here for their weekly service at 8:45 in the Resident Activity Center on the island. And Jurassic Travel will be here in the Egret Room from 9 to 12 to help you with all your personal traveling needs. Also at 9 o'clock, the watercolor group with Phil Hilton will be down in the art studio in the tunnel. And the card making and scrapbooking group will be in the Tarpon Room on the island at 9:15. 10 o'clock is the time for ladies' Bible study in the Osprey Room. Also at 10 o'clock, the men's match play tennis will be at the Woodlands. The Model Yacht Sailing Club will be at the Commons Lake at the Woodlands at 10:15, sailing their boats. And then we move to 11:30 for a Health Connections class, Bar Ball Edition in the Health Club on the island. Here's Bev to tell you all about our afternoon lineup.
Thank you, Caitlin. At 12:45, we have a Health Connections class, Advanced Senior Strength down in the Health Club. And at 1 o'clock, we have chess played in the Library Lounge. 1:30 to 3:30, the Model Train Room is open for tours. And we have another Health Connections class at 1:45, Balance and Mobility Training for Beginners in the Health Club. At 2 o'clock, we have an Assisted Living Tea and Tour. That's in the Dining Room of the Springs. And at 2:15, we have a Veterans Day celebration at the Village Church. There's an organ concert going on, so make sure you get out there. At 2:30, we have Jazz and Stuff in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. At 3 o'clock, there's a Bible study in the Community Room of King's Crown. We have a Health Connections class, Pilates Stretch in the Health Club at 3 o'clock. And it's time for indoor bocce at 4:30. That's in the Health Club. The singles table will be at the Crystal Dining Room starting at 5 o'clock. And at 5:45, we have the church choir rehearsal at the Village Church. Prayer and praise will be held at the Village Church at 7:15. And that wraps up our activities. Well, we're happy to see you here today, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Wednesday, November 11th. Since it's Veterans Day, please let me add my thank you to all of our veterans. In the Academy at 9:45, we had Introduction to Android tablets and smartphones, continuing in the Technology Teaching Center on the island. At 10 o'clock, our painting class, Color, 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 continues in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. And at 1 o'clock, our intermediate bridge class continues in the game room at the Woodlands. At 1:30, torn paper self-portraits will continue in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. And at 3 o'clock, Internet Prep School continues in the Computer Center at the Woodlands. I'd like to tell you about new classes coming tomorrow. China, Behind the Bamboo Curtain, Part 1. With Thomas Terrell, who is a retired international lawyer and former economic advisor to the UK government. We also have iPhone Photography Part 2 with Bruce Findlay of Sundial.
Menus for Wednesday, November 11th. In the Crystal Room, the platter is braised lamb with rosemary potatoes and Brussels sprouts. For dinner, it's an international buffet for $14.95. The soup of the day is chicken tortilla. In the Island Cafe, lunch is a pulled pork sandwich topped with coleslaw with fries for $7.75. For dinner, it's grilled shrimp for $8.75. The Palm Grill has fried soft shell crab for $16.95, or you might enjoy braised short ribs for $16.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church. You know, in this series of devotionals, we've been discussing the Life Quest program at Shell Point with its 6 dimensions of well-being. There's the natural environment, the physical, the emotional, the educational, the community and social, and finally the spiritual. It's a comprehensive perspective on the nature of our humanity. Without any one of those dimensions, we are somehow diminished in our humanity. And so here at Shell Point, we are committed to programming which seeks to provide multiple opportunities for residents and employees to grow in a well-rounded way, fulfilling our genuine humanity. Now, we at the Village Church are primarily concerned about the spiritual dimension, teaching our community who God is and who we are before God. But we are also concerned about seeing the connections between the spiritual and all the other dimensions identified in Life Quest. I've made the case that the other dimensions of LifeQuest are like the parts of an automobile tire, and the tire analogy suggests that the spiritual is the air in the tire. The notion of the spiritual being the air has a biblical foundation because both the Hebrew and Greek words for spirit bring the notion of air to mind. The Hebrew ruach and the Greek word pneuma both mean breath or wind. And so air is necessary in a tire because without it, you may have perhaps experienced, the tire can be destroyed very quickly. The spiritual dimension gives life, support, and meaning to all the other dimensions. And without the spiritual dimension, something very significant is missing. And without the spiritual dimension, the other dimensions lose their support and integrity. And in this series, we are exploring how the spiritual dimension provides support and integrity to the other dimensions. We have considered the natural environment and the physical dimensions, and today we will consider the emotional dimension. You know, part of what it means to be made in the image of God is that we are emotional beings. We have the capacity not only to know something about God, but to have genuine affection for Him. And of course, because we are all emotional beings, we have the capacity to have genuine affections for each other also. The emotional dimension of our humanity is on display in the Scriptures from beginning to end. And one of my favorite stories has to do with the birth of Samuel, which is recorded in the Old Testament in 1 Samuel. Perhaps you might know the story. Hannah is one of 2 wives, and she is the one without children. And in those days, it was a great cause of consternation to be a woman, a wife, without children. One's whole existence would be painful and seemingly without purpose for a woman in those days who did not have children. And to make matters worse, the other wife in that family wouldn't let Hannah forget it. She was constantly mocking poor Hannah regarding her childless condition, all of which led to an encounter at the temple during a feast. Hannah was overwrought with distress regarding her condition. The priest, Eli, saw her in distress and initially thought she was drunk. In chapter 1 of 1 Samuel, beginning in verse 15, we read, "But Hannah answered and said, 'No, my Lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor intoxicating drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord.'" It's interesting to me that Hannah speaks of her own emotional state as a sorrowful spirit. She implicitly recognized the spiritual dimension of her emotional state. In the midst of her emotional distress, she then made a promise that if God would grant her a child, she would give that child to God. She would dedicate him to the Lord by leaving the child literally with Eli, the priest, to grow up and learning to serve the Lord. So her emotions, evidences of the Spirit, led her to make a spiritual decision, the consecration of her baby to God. We are emotional beings. We have the capacity for genuine affection and love for God and for each other. And we have that capacity because we are created in God's image as spiritual beings, which also means we have the capacity for feeling. I trust that as you experience genuine human emotion, that you'll remember from time to time that it is because of your origin as a person made in God's image, capable of feeling with a soul, enabling a relationship with other souls who also have genuine emotions. You'll be blessed as you do, because once again, another dimension of our humanity, the emotional dimension, retains its God-given purpose and meaning by being filled with the air of the spiritual dimension. Thank you for joining us. We hope you'll have a blessed day, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Shell Point Today. Return tomorrow when Shell Point pharmacist Yao Adu-Sarkodie will bring us an update about vaccines. And we'll get a preview of an upcoming presentation by cardiothoracic surgeon Dr. Paul DeGiorgi from Lee Memorial Health Park. Until then, this has been Shell Point Today for Wednesday, November 11th. I'm Dan Filgreen, and on behalf of everyone here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.